Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Let's Play Warframe. I'm your host with the most, as always, Francois878, and today I'd like to talk to you guys about update 18.13.2. And I know what you guys are going to say, but Francois, that update's not even out yet. That's true, but it will be releasing today, June 1st, at some point. And DE Rebecca over on the Warframe forums have been kind enough to supply us a list of changes that will be going live in this update. So let's get right into it. Enemy cheesiness is a big problem in this game, and it's a lot of people who had complaints about Warframe changes in update 18.13 were mad because basically they said, why is Warframe cheese getting taken care of before enemy cheese? Maybe these abilities wouldn't be abused so much if the enemies weren't so cheesy themselves. And to a point, I absolutely agree with that. I feel like enemy cheese is a big issue in Warframe, and figuring that out before nerfing frames is ideal. But at the same time, I understand where they were coming from with the Warframe changes. So I'm kind of in both camps on this. But in the short term, DE is changed some enemy mechanics to make them a little bit more reasonable. Enemy plasma grenades in the Void will now have a 3-second timer once they hit the ground before they go off. If you can shoot them fast enough, the plasma grenades will explode and deal damage to enemies instead of you and your allies. At the very least, that should give you enough time to boogie out and not get hit by the grenade. I think this is a great change. I think that having some time to react is great, especially when it comes to grenades. Now, ballistas are another big problem. Those are the Grineer snipers. Grineer snipers will now be telegraphing their shots, and so you'll have a little bit of warning before the ballistas actually take their shot to prioritize the appropriate target. Again, a great change. This should have been in the game ages and ages ago. Ballistas do way too much damage for you to just not do anything about it, basically. So, again, very happy with this change. The cheese is going down. Haika Masters, their Ignis will now no longer deal damage through walls. If Warframes have to deal with line of sight, enemies should have to deal with line of sight too. That's only fair. That's not even cheese, that's just fair. But DE is also looking into, on a long-term scale, looking into how enemy damage and enemy effective health scales in higher content, and how they would like to keep the, get in and get out or get killed mentality of the difficulty of the longer you stay in an endless mission, the more... the greater chance there is for you to die, but they do realize that how enemies scale right now is not great. So there isn't going to be anything in that introduced in this update, but there is talks about changing that. And there's been talks for a while about that. This is something that they've been working on for a while, especially with taking out the quote-unquote mandatory mods. So I'm glad to hear an update about this, and I'm glad they're still looking into it. But this is something that they can take as long as they need on. Because this isn't something that they can, release and then fix later. This is something that needs to get released properly the first time. They're going to piss a lot of people off if they don't get that right the first time. So as far as I'm concerned, they can take as long as they need. Now, some Warframe changes. A lot of people were mad about Trinity and how basically Trinity was losing the 98% damage resistance on Blessing. I mean, there's just too much cheese there. Trinity is a great frame, but it's just Blessing was way too cheesy. So now, instead of damage resistance on cast being calculated based on an average heal, the damage resistance is going to be affected by power strength, and it's going to be capped at 75%. So if you have max power strength on your Trinity, you will get the 75% damage resistance, regardless of how much Blessing actually heals. I kind of like this. I think that it's a good... you aren't waiting until the very last second to cast Blessing anymore, which is a decent change. I'm kind of a nervous blesser. I heal people, and regardless of how much health or shields they have left, and that's just... I don't know. I feel like I use Blessing for the heals. The damage resistance is nice, but I don't know. I'm the healer. I'm trying to keep my team alive. That's how I do it. Now, Hysteria has also been changed for Valkyr. A lot of people were complaining about the aura around her, around Hysteria while you're using it that grows, and if there are any enemies in it, you will take all of the damage stored while using Hysteria. Getting kills will now reduce the Hysteria aura by 1 meter. I think this is a great change. I think this promotes getting massive amounts of kills in Hysteria. This is the point of Hysteria. You're supposed to go berserk, get a bunch of kills, and then leave. I think this is a great change. This absolutely feeds into the entire how Hysteria is supposed to work, and into the, like, even the lore of Valkyr being a berserker. Now, the one last big change that's coming is starting capacity changes are going to happen. Basically, the change is going to be your mastery rank will reflect the mod capacity for any new or forma gear that you have. So if you craft a new weapon or a new Warframe, it will have the mod capacity of your mastery rank to begin with, and obviously it also takes an Orokin Catalyst or an Orokin Reactor into account for that. So if your mastery rank is 10 and you build a new weapon or you form a new weapon, it will have a mod capacity of 10. If you have the Catalyst installed there, it will be 20. And it's not, as far as I can tell from the forum post, it will not be affecting your actual weapon level. So it's not like, oh, I'm going to form this weapon and instantly get it back to level 20 or 15 or whatever your mastery rank happens to be. It's going to be 1, and you're still going to have to level it. You just won't be getting any mod capacity up until whatever your mastery rank is. So, like I said, if your mastery rank is 10, and you have that 10 mod capacity when you form it, you just won't be getting any fresh capacity until you surpass 10 as a weapon level. I think this is a good change. I never thought that the change that they were talking about on the dev stream, where you actually, when you format a weapon, it actually leveled up to your mastery rank. I never thought that would happen, because eventually Warframe is going to get to a point where mastery rank 30 is going to be achievable. So, essentially, people would just be able to instantly form their gear and get it right back to 30 immediately. I think this change basically allows people to be able to form their gear and get some sort of mods onto it to begin with, and allows that weapon not to be a useless hunk of metal on your back for 7 or 8 stages. I think it's a great change, and I'm happy to see it. I thought we were gonna have to wait for update 18 to see that, so I'm glad they implemented it early. But that is so far the extent of what we know about update 18.13.2. I'm very happy with these changes. I think that, you know, the DE has shown that they are going to listen to us, and that there's no need for the torches and the pitchforks, like some Warframe YouTubers. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want drama, but I feel like the community as a whole, half of them have been civil about their disagreements, and the other half have been a bunch of assholes. And to them, I say, fuck off. Obviously, let's just calm down. Give DE a chance. They said all of the Warframe changes were in beta and could be adjusted. Chill out. But that's going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and tell me what you think about these changes coming in the new update. I've been your host with the most, as always, Francois878, signing off.